Aaron Tuttle here for Ferguson Roof Systems. For 43 years, Ferguson Roof Systems has been protecting Oklahoma's homes and businesses with quality roofing services. Their goal was to be the most honest and dependable roofing company in the state, all while providing free services such as lifetime labor warranty and annual inspections. Well, mission accomplished with thousands of client testimonials, an A+ Better Business Bureau rating, and a 5-star rating on Google. Look, the weather gives you enough to worry about, so why worry about who to trust with your roof? Call Ferguson Roof Systems today or find out more at fergusonroofsystems.com.
Hey everyone, Meteorologist Aaron Tuttle back with you. It's just almost 9:20 here on your Thursday evening, so thanks for checking in with me. We've got a lot to talk about, as you can imagine. And I'm going to get down to the details and show you all the ins and outs. I am basically the Wizard of Oz guy behind the curtain. I'm the one that shows you all the behind the scenes, what really happens and what goes on in the world of meteorology. When we look at this data, we analyze, especially when we do it on the fly, like I do it a lot of times, because the data doesn't come in until just about now. So I usually look at some old data, and then I kind of get my ideas of where I'm going, and then we look at the new data together. So it sometimes takes a little longer to pick out, all the intricacies and stuff. But I think it's, it's fun, it's educational, and I think you guys enjoy it because you keep coming back for more. I've seen a lot of stars tonight. There's a lot of love going on out there, so I appreciate that. A lot of hard man hours put into this forecast since last Tuesday. Thankfully, nothing has changed in the forecast period, so. Unfortunately, that means bad news, but for a meteorologist, though, you can't beat this kind of stuff. We live for this. This is incredible. This is once every 15, 20-year event here for Oklahoma, even parts of North Texas. Those guys have seen a mess down there. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. So thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing this video. You can hit the share button as we speak while you're watching so that it shows up in your friends' news feeds. Thank you for participating on YouTube. I see you guys over there. Also on Twitter, Periscope, and on Facebook, and soon to be on Gab TV when they turn on the live function there. So I'll be on 4 platforms all at once. And thanks to Cox Communications, by the way. Last night, as you guys know, I was dead in the water at a 0.5 meg upload speed. That's dial-up, in case you guys don't remember what that is. So I couldn't get a stream going. You have no idea the angst boiling in my veins. Oh, I was so mad. I was so angry. Jody could vouch for that. She had to cover her ears. I am human, though, and when that happens unexpected and you can't get on the air and you really want to because it's a big story, big storm, yeah, I've had that happen a couple days back in the TV where Master Control was off the air. Trust me, it's panic at a TV station when that happens. There's phone calls going on, big dogs are involved. It's a big thing. So even here on us small-time potato guys, it's frustrating as all get out. But I got to give props to Cox. I got out there today, fixed a couple of nodes on my line in the neighborhood, and that seems to get things back up and running. So thanks, guys. Okay, so let's get on with what we've got going on for the extended. It's not just tonight, it's not this weekend, it's all in the middle of next week. Then we finally see a little bit of a reprieve, if you will. Okay, so first off, just this morning, again, I talked about this at lunchtime today, but just kind of give you an idea, Dallas, late last night, early this morning, they had a little touch of freezing drizzle down there, some light freezing drizzle, so a few hundredths. And that's all it took to completely glaze over the bridges and overpasses in some of the areas. And look what happened when these cars are driving, 40, 50 miles per hour, and they slam on the brakes the last minute. And it was crash up derby, as you can imagine. What a scary thing to be on. This guy's out of his car walking around. You never want to do that with those 2,000 plus pound vehicles flying around. And from the news stations there this afternoon, they covered it. It was horrific. Now, around, I think, 12 o'clock, the last I'd heard that 8 people had died in this. Now, I don't know if more had been reported, but that's just a bad scene, which is why me and others spend so much time to warn you about freezing drizzle. Drizzle itself is typically a nothing burger. You guys don't even think anything about it. And normally that's fine. But when we're dealing with temperatures like we have, this is the end results. This is why we spend a lot of time on something that adds up to very little, because it has a major impact. So there you go. Okay, so what's going on here for this weekend? Well, Weather Service put out their map for snow. They keep adjusting it, which is fine because it's going to take a few adjustments to get it all right. We're still early in the game. But right now they've got 8 to 12 inches of snow over central and western Oklahoma, and then 6 to 8 in the yellow. In the blue, 4 to 6. Now, is this going to pan out just like this? No. But they took a stab at it. The TV guys took a stab at it. The models are taking a stab at it. Everybody's taking a stab at it. And there's nothing wrong taking a stab at it. We're early in the game, but everybody wants to know the best guess, right? So as a result, we have the state painted in colors for winter weather advisors. We've got a wind chill advisory out there. We've got a winter storm watch out there. Special weather statements are ongoing just to kind of say, hey, heads up, this is a big deal. If you want to know how big of a deal it is, let's use the Walmart barometer. I went to neighborhood Walmart tonight. Jody and I decided to get a few extra groceries because I thought, you know what? We may not make it out for a few days, and let's go pick up a few items. Big mistake. So we went in there after dinner. Should have went there earlier. The guy tells us at noon people piled in, and by 2 o'clock they were cleaned out. So here we are, bebopping in at 7, going, we'll just get a few things. Luckily what we needed was not on the list for everybody else. But gives you a little example of how things get a little chaotic already. Okay, so where's the next big storm system coming our way? Here it is. Let me circle it for you. This guy here. This big circle is an upper level disturbance. It's a very strong one at that. And on top of that, you see this little moisture trail right here from the Pacific feeding into it. So a lot of moisture to it in the mid-upper levels. Now some of this gets stripped away when it comes over Mexico and the terrain out here, but enough of it will factor in to give it a little bit of a boost as it moves into Texas and streams, of course, some of that moisture into Oklahoma for this weekend. So it's going to be a troublemaker for more than just the Sooner State. So there you go. There's our first system, and there's more after that. Now out there right now, it's fairly quiet over the state. We've got a few probably flurries or maybe just a little tiny bit of leftover drizzle in the far southeastern tip of the state. Otherwise, most of the significant rainfall is down into Texas, where some of this has been freezing rain and sleet. Dallas is mostly out of it. I think it's just kind of to your south, and it's falling apart. So that event is coming to an end as that upper level disturbance moves on by. Temperatures out there, of course, are cold. They've been cold. They haven't changed. They won't change. It's Arctic air reinforcing Arctic air. And the Arctic air coming up from the north isn't any warmer than the Arctic air that's already here. So there you go. Now, what you do notice on the map is a lot less of these equal signs. We've been flooded with those equal signs, which is freezing fog and some tildes for freezing drizzle, and then they get the little snowflake icons. So a lot of that has finally kind of waned due to the drier air coming in. So when I say drier air, here's the temperature in red. Green is the dew point. You see how they're about a 3 or sometimes 4 degree difference? That's drier air. That's dry enough to create or to transfer that, not the word I'm looking for, but what word am I looking for? Is to change the state of the freezing drizzle into little snow grains or snowflakes. And you get enough of that all day long, and you get little light snow dusting that we saw out there across the state today. Keep in mind, on my website, AaronTuttleWeather.com, there is a weather data tab filled with information you're going to like, especially Oklahoma road conditions. I advise you guys to check this one out because I'm getting a lot of questions going, hey, I'm traveling from here to here, from here to here. How are the roads? What will the roads be like? You need to visit this page. It's on my weather app as well, AT's Weather to Go. The menu item is built right in. You're going to want to know what the Oklahoma snow route is here for Oklahoma City here over the weekend. So this has it on there as well. And it shows you who maintains those roads. And then down from there, you can look at the entire statewide view, and you can see whether or not there's severe, close, moderate. And then you can look at some of the pictures of the traffic moving cameras, and then same thing for Oklahoma City. And even Tulsa and stuff. Looks like a closed road, just about probably, I don't know if it's going to be an accident or just whatever. Out here westbound looks like on 40. So that kind of gives you an idea of how you can keep tabs on stuff. So, all right, so let's get into the model data. Let's look at the forecast. A group of these short-term ensembles are kind of averaging around, this is Oklahoma City, to about 0.4 of an inch of rain. So this is conservative. Now, of course, it's not going to be rain. This is what we call liquid equivalent, or QPF. So you have to multiply this amount by ratio to get the snow translation. Now, on average events, we're 10 to 1 ratio. And I explained this at noon today in last night's video that I uploaded. We're going to be closer to 20 to 1 and sometimes 25 to 1, which means you have to double it. So what we're going to do, instead of multiplying this number, say an average of 0.4, let's say 0.4 times 10 would be 4 inches of snow. We're going to double it to 8 inches of snow. Now, this is just on the short-term ensemble runs. And we've got other models that say, you know what, there's probably going to be a lot more than that. And we can look at that here on a super ensemble, which takes into effect a lot of different models, just to kind of see the general area of how far. We won't get too detailed in this one. It's just going to be kind of a general area of how far things are going to look. And I'll go through, don't want day 1 through 3 because that'll take us to, no, I'm going to need to go day 4. Okay, so this will be day 4. I'm going to run through just some of the different runs, and you can see how these bullseyes, by the way, let me get this up here as well for you. Move this over. See, the scale is right here on the right. So if you see orange or red, that's 12 to 18 inches of snow. But otherwise, in the 6 plus for yellow shading. So now with that back in mind, let's take a look at what something's going to look like. All right, so here we go with the Canadian. It's just all over the place. Nothing really special about it. The GFS has some higher numbers in there. They're all over the place. You gotta love these models. I mean, this is the European. They're all over the place. And this goes through Monday afternoon as the system's kind of moved away from Oklahoma. As it's still coming into Oklahoma, there's some of the higher amounts out west, and of course the Rockies, because that's where the storm system's coming from. So that's kind of the trail of snow with that system. So there's kind of where the heavier snows will be from the next 3 days, and that's from the Rockies on stretching into Oklahoma for this event. So that's kind of a large scale event. That's all I really want to show you with that map. I didn't want to get too detailed. What's causing this? The upper levels of the atmosphere. Let's take a look at the jet stream. We're going to show you a very active pattern. So we had that polar vortex situation up here, and that was driving in that bitterly cold air, surface high after surface high that builds down and sits around at the surface. Well, in the upper levels of the atmosphere, we have to watch for these little upper level disturbances that'll come on through, like this one down here in Mexico right now that's slipping on into Texas. So let's take a look and see when the next one is. All right, let's see, get off of that. There we go. All right, so let's put this in motion. So that one we showed you on the satellite viewpoint is coming down southward across North Mexico and then kind of curls into south end of Texas. This is on Saturday. So that's why Saturday for us isn't really a big deal. We have a little bit of light snow in advance of this, because remember that moisture trail I showed you? That's going to come across, but the main energy is going to be south of us. So Texas will actually get more out of that than we will. Now, the second one comes in quickly on its heels for Sunday, and if you look here, it wraps up with a little kind of a mini cutoff low over Oklahoma, and that's this guy right here. So this is a strong upper level disturbance. The bright colors indicate the lift in the atmosphere, but we'll squeeze out the moisture. And this position is by Monday morning. So it's a great position for snow in Oklahoma. All right, that one moves on away, and then guess what comes in after that one? Another big one for Wednesday into Thursday, and that one moves on by. What do we have after that? What's this? We got another one on the 24th. Will they ever stop? I don't know. There's another one for the 27th. So now the question is, an extended, the polar vortex is gone, so we will have lost our Arctic supply, but it's still wintertime and there's still going to be cold air around, so we'll have to see if those latter systems produce some of that wintry stuff. Now, we talked about the snow ratio again. Average, they're usually about 10 to 1 inches of snow to 1 part of water. So that's kind of how you can look at it. So if you have 1 inch of water, you've got 10 inches of snow. But as you get deeper cold air in here, which means more dew point values on the lower end of things go downhill really quickly, and you get much higher ratios like they experience in the Northeast. Matter of fact, here's kind of a general rule of thumb. You get about a 25 to 1 ratio of temperatures outside around 12 degrees. Hey, guess what we're going to have outside? We're going to be pretty close to 12 degrees. We're going to bounce around between 12 and 18 for the duration of most of this event here for this weekend. So that means our snow ratios are going to be a lot of fun. Now, here's something else that's going to be real fun. You guys want to break a record? If you live on the southwest side of a lake, a big lake, you're probably going to break a record. The reason why, we have lake effect snows with this. So the winds will be out of the northeast. So if you live probably within about half a mile roughly, from the bigger lakes, you're probably going to end up with ridiculous amounts of snow, and it'll be drifting. So just keep that in mind. We'll see how things look come Monday morning. I want to see some pictures, some rulers. You probably can't measure with a ruler. You have to measure with yourself. So just tell me how tall you are, and then see what kind of happens with that. That may be how silly it gets. So we'll have to see. It's going to be a big deal. The other thing, here's the other thing. And I used to, of course, I didn't know this way back in the day, but I actually thought that snow on the roof was bad for structural wise. Turns out, roofs can handle a ton of snow. So here's a look at example of that. For fluffy snow, which is what we're going to have, which is a 15-to-1 ratio, we're going to have a 20-to-25. We're going to have super fluffy snow. All right, so that weighs almost nothing. Now, if we had a big wet snow at a 5-to-1 ratio, it would weigh the amount of 3 trucks, 18,000 pounds. But good news is that's only 12 pounds per square foot, and an average roof can handle about 20. So you're going to be okay with snow on your roof, no matter how much falls out there. Okay, so that's precipitable water. I do want to talk about that, but let's get into the details, shall we? I think we're ready for it. So, real quick, the snow ratio. Let me show you what that looks like. So this is looking at the American model just on another plane, and what I want to show you is when you factor in a snow ratio, let me put this up here, it's this little squiggly light blue line, all right? Now, this blue line peaks at this number right here. That says plus 25. The one down here says plus 20. Now, the time on this here is 12Z Sunday. Now, it's going to go backwards, so your eyes usually going left to right on a timeline. We're goofy in meteorology, so we're going to go right to left in this chart through Monday morning here. All right, so our snow ratio, the colors are terrible, Aaron. Why don't you pick something that shows up? There we go. We'll go with yellow. All right, so the snow ratio goes from around 15-to-1 at the start of the event Sunday morning, and then as drier air filters in throughout the day, snow ratio peaks up here around 25-to-1 by the time we head into Sunday night and Monday morning. So there's going to be a ramp up. So that will help to lessen the snow amounts that could occur with a 25-to-1, but they're still going to be ridiculous, even with a 15-to-1. So if you're asking me, Aaron, short version, all this mumbo jumbo, are we going to get snow? You darn tootin'. We're going to get a lot of snow. Double darn tootin'. All right, so let's take a look at the details of the NAM models come in. Just came in, hot off the presses. We're going to look at the QPF. QPF's important because we're going to multiply this to get our snow. Now, this is interesting. This is a completely new trend that has bucked the system. What do I mean by that? Remember all those maps showing the heavy snow out here in northwest Oklahoma? What do you see out there, QPF-wise? 1/10 of an inch? Come on, man. 1/10 of an inch times a 10-to-1 ratio or even a 20-to-1 ratio. We're talking about 2 inches of snow. What's the big deal out there? You up here in the eastern Oklahoma, you get a 0.7, let's say a 20 ratio, 20-to-1. You're going to end up with 14 inches of snow. So something's off here. Are we getting the heavy snow on the west side of the state, or are we getting heavy snow on the east side of the state? So this is probably banking on the precipitable water content that the model is indicating on, which is similar to other models. So it's going to be a fight to see which one of these is correct. And this is odd being this close to the event and having that much of a disparity. At least the good news is in the middle, they all agree on about 1/2 an inch in central Oklahoma. So that means if you live in Oklahoma City, there really isn't much disagreement here that we're probably going to end up about 10 inches of snow if you were just to use a 20-to-1 ratio. If we hit the 25, all right, fine. We'll hit a little more than that. You can add a couple of, because it's going to ramp up. So you can probably add a couple more inches to that. So about a foot of snow would be a decent forecast for central Oklahoma based off of those numbers. So that's real. I'm not blowing smoke up your behind, and I'm not hyping this up. That's the data. That's what it looks like. I've got no problems with that, no qualms. We look at the integrated moisture. The precipitable water is what is What are you guys doing that for me for? Get that back in there. Must have timed out, and I got to start all over. Oh, that's all right. Just take a second. Dun, dun, dun. All right, where was I? That is not where I was. Let's do this. I was here. All right, let's go back to what I was saying. Precipitable water. So if you were to take all of the moisture in the atmosphere and wring it out, this is what precipitable water is in inches. Now in the wintertime it's fairly dry, obviously, because in the wintertime we don't get a lot of big rain events around here. And even when it does rain, it's usually not that much. Now on Saturday, our precipitable water is up around half an inch. So if you were able to get all the liquid out of the sky, you get half an inch of rain. Well, that's not going to happen. That's moving on off. We don't have the lift here in Oklahoma for all that. Now on Sunday morning, that big batch moves off to the east. What's left behind, about 4/10 on an average for most of the area during the day on Sunday. So if we were able to squeeze out everything, that's 4/10 of an inch of rainfall. That kind of jives with what we're looking at for the model estimate. But you can see that eastern Oklahoma has still got a little hint of some of that green, especially here into Sunday night, Monday morning, a little higher amounts here. And that may be the reason why it's going a little higher on that side. Now, the snow ratio won't be as dry there. So in other words, it'll probably closer to the 10-to-1 versus the 20-to-1. So it'll be a lot, the dew point values will be a lot higher and due to orographic issues down here. So the end result is probably balance out. In other words, we're not going to probably get the 14 inches of snow in eastern Oklahoma. So that rule is going to have to be massaged for that area. So we'll have to back that off a bit because the snow ratios won't be that dramatic there. But in central and northwestern Oklahoma, they will be. So any QPF that falls is definitely going to be multiplicable. So there you go. All right, so we know now what the big trend is. We know what the general consensus is. When does it start? If you want to travel, let's take a look. This is Saturday night. So this is, that was Friday night into Saturday morning. There's a little piddly stuff down there in North Texas. Nothing bad. A little bit of sleet, maybe a touch of freezing drizzle, but nothing too heavy. Of course, as you know, it didn't take much. And during the day on Saturday, it still kind of has that little bit of that sleet mixture look to it during a Saturday afternoon down there. So if you are going to be in Dallas-Fort Worth, just be careful out there. It does get heavier as we head into the evening hours, and then there's still more ice down into central Texas, down to Aggie land. And if you do look Saturday night into Sunday, so this is midnight Saturday night, we start to see the snowfall just blossom across the eastern half of the state, of course, then out to the west as some of that new energy comes in from the Rockies. And it just keeps blossoming. So this is on Sunday morning. So if you're traveling, we will be seeing snow already in play throughout the state during the day on Sunday. Keeps going Sunday night. Now we're into Monday morning. And it's finally starting to wrap up here in central Oklahoma, but continue south and east. So if we were to take that data we looked at and just look at the overall snow forecast from that, now this isn't factoring in an ideal 20 or 25 to 1 ratio. Okay, so it's going to be conservative here in central Oklahoma. That's more closer to a 10 to 1 ratio, and that's 6 inches of snow. So I don't buy the 6 inches. Now remember I said the most would be 14 in the east. We're going to have to take that down a notch because the ratios won't be that bad. It comes out to about 10. So ironically, it'll be closer to being right in eastern than it will in central. So I don't like the output of this on the snow, which is why I'm sticking with the QPF conversion. All right, let's go back to the other important things, and that's temperature, wind chill, and wind gusts to 40 miles an hour. All right, so what is that going to do? Well, obviously Friday's cold. I need to tell you that again. Saturday's cold. What else is new? Valentine's Day, we're going to be into the teens, low teens for daytime high temperatures. All right, and then Sunday night gets even colder into Monday morning. We drop into single digits. When you factor in these winds, let's take a look at the winds. All right, so it does get a little breezy tonight and tomorrow, more so than before, but it really starts to crank up here on Sunday. So here's Saturday night into Sunday morning when you wake up. We have winds gusting up to around 25 to 30 miles per hour during the day on Sunday. And then by Sunday, late afternoon and evening, they really get cranking to speeds up around 35 miles per hour. You want to talk about some blowing and drifting snow, that'll do it. And they kind of stay pretty gusty through Monday morning. Now, when you factor in those temperatures, the wind chill values, and I'm just going to jump into Saturday. So Saturday wind chill values in the teens. After the morning's around 0. But then we'll rebound a little bit. And then on Sunday, we're looking at wind chill values starting out the day below 0. And they stay below 0 all day long. And this could be conservative. In other words, they could be a little colder than that. It's going to be brutal on Sunday. Just not a fun day at all. And if you're traveling and you've just got to move, you better do it the first part of the day, because the snow will just keep getting heavier as the day goes on. Now, the good news is this is dry snow, very powdery. A lot of it will blow off the roads initially. It'll get really, of course, heavier as it turns into the evening and the overnight period into Sunday night. So Monday morning, when you wake up, that'll be the most snow we'll have out of this entire system. Okay, so that is look how this weekend is shaping up. But that's not the end story. We have to go into next week. Same principle applies. We're looking at snow ratios 20 to 25, which is going to dump, some really good amounts once we look at the QPF, and I'm going to do that here for you. So let's just jump to the QPF. So we've got the American model is a little excited here for the weekend. It had 0.7, which here in central Oklahoma, that'd be 14 inches of snow. So just so you know, that's on the high side. The low side is about 0.4. I like about 0.5, but right now we're splitting hairs. We're still pretty early from the event. Now, this is just to show you what one model went nuts with, and it had 2.7 QPF. If I were to convert that to snow, that's like 40 inches of snow. All right, that sounds ridiculous, and it is. I don't think there's enough precipitable water for this to produce that type of snow. But if I was wrong, whoa. So let's dial it back a notch. Let's go to the older version of the American model, which did quite well. We were looking at the new one. And even the older version is still, it's up there. It's on the high end of the spectrum. It's about an inch and 1.4. So this is a collective total between we get this weekend through Thursday of next week. And when we do that, we get some stupid amounts of snow. So if you were to take, multiply this by 10, that's 14 inches of snow. You multiply it by 20, now we're getting there, right? Now we're getting 28 inches of snow. That's what I'm talking about. So that's the kind of stuff we're going to have, which could be record-breaking here over Oklahoma for a long period of time. Now, these ensemble numbers here for the weekend, they're averaging out globally. These are the global models. They're averaging out to about a half an inch of QPF over the weekend here in Oklahoma City. So that's why I like the half-inch number. It's a believe it or not, it's a conservative. It's uniform. It's safe. That ends up with about a foot of snow here. And it's hard to say foot of snow is on the table and not even think twice about it, but that's what we're going to do. When we look at the QPF long term, when I showed you that flat map, this is just a look at a plot of that, which shows you the 1.12 inches here in Oklahoma City. So with that, again, you can't look at 10 to 1, you got to look at least 20 to 1. So we're looking at 20 to 25 inches of snow collectively here in central Oklahoma total that I believe will occur based off of everything that I've seen to this point. Temperatures, dumb, just dumb. Overnight lows down below zero Monday morning and Tuesday morning. And honestly, this Wednesday, Thursday, Friday morning, all that is to be thrown out the window. If we get a ton of snow on the ground and we even have some clear skies or anything like that, or break from the wind, and these numbers will cradle, colder, by the way. And the daytime highs won't recover that much either. If the model's going to tell me that we have 25 inches of snow on the ground, we're not going to warm up into the mid 20s or mid or low 30s on Friday. It's just not possible. So that will curtail the warm up. Eventually, it will. But like I've been warning you, from about the 19th onward, I do this every night. We take a look at the 19th. I draw a line. And I do this because the pattern's too chaotic. It's cold through the end of the month. You've seen those storm systems that will be coming in waves. There's too much going on, too much chaos that they have to resolve long term. They did fairly well at this initial stage, but I think long term they're just not going to be able to do it. So there you go. All right, we have spent just about 30 minutes to tell you everything I think there is to know about the weather, why, what's causing it, all that kind of stuff. The take home is it's a dangerous storm. Temperatures, obviously, let me show you this. I've shown this several times, but it's worth showing again. It's just the wind chill value. So when you get wind chill values into the upper negative teens to negative 20s in this area, frostbite happens in 30 minutes. That's why you've got to be protected in all layers. if you're outdoors for any length of time. I mean, sure, quick little run back and forth to the mailbox or whatever, but if you slip and fall, you're screwed. So you're going to want to bundle up, even if you don't plan to be out there very long, just in case, all right? Lakes, streams, rivers, all that stuff. Kids, stay off of them. Parents, tell your kids, don't play on them. The ice won't be thick enough to support majority of them unless they're teeny tiny tykes. And do you want your teeny tiny tykes out there on an ice pond? I'm going to say no. So let them know. I was a kid once. I did it because I was an idiot back then, because most young boys were idiots. That's how we're designed. Some of us still grow up to be idiots. But point being is, you want to give them that old motherly advice and say, don't do that. All right, that's one issue. Pipes bursting. That's going to be another issue. So let the doors open for all your counters at home. Obviously, you need to be wrapping stuff if you haven't already outside. If your home loses heat, you're going to try to trap what you can. Shut all excess doors, windows, curtains, blinds, towels under anything that's going to leak, and then hope you get power on soon enough. Question is about power. All right, on my website, there is also the power outage status. The chance to get power outages more than likely would be on Sunday, late day, as those winds kick up around gusts of 30, maybe closer to 40 miles per hour. That would be the chance to see a few power outages. Hopefully it wouldn't last very long. So that's something to keep in mind. Don't expect widespread, but it doesn't take much, and you're going without power for a long period of time with wind chill values and negative numbers. It's not going to be pleasant. Let's see. Obviously, you probably have already run to the store, so you got your necessities. Make sure you get gas in your car. Put those little kind of a road kit, car kit in there. And we've talked about that with a graphic before. If you missed all of that, let me see if I can find it here real quick, and I'll throw it up here for you. Where was that? I'm just trying to hit all the high points so I don't forget anything. Pets. Well, I'm looking for that. Make sure you do not leave those young little dogs with hardly any fur out there for a length of time, because they're not going to like that. And you wouldn't like that either, right? Right. Okay, so let's do this. So for your car, of course, you should always have jumper cables. Old school is jumper cables. You want to get new school? Get those little battery, lithium-ion batteries. They're like a little brick, and they will start your car for you. You don't even need jumper cables anymore. They stay charged for, I think, up to a year. I charge mine about every 6 months. It just stays in the back of the car. It can power laptops, your cell phones. They're good for storm shelters. But anyway, keep that in your car. First aid kit. We just mentioned the cell phone charger. Water, snacks, extra mittens, hats, boots, warm gloves, flashlights, snow shovel, brush, blankets, tow rope, full tank of gas, road flares. If you're going to be one of those that's going to have to travel and going to be out, you want to make sure you're prepared. All right. Okay. So let's see. We've covered travel. Try not to ask me, hey, I got to go from here to here. Is it going to be safe? Look, it's a winter storm. What more do you want me to tell you? I mean, I can tell you that the amounts aren't going to get heavier until, as we go through the day. But how does that affect your driving? Well, most of the snow is kind of dry, so it should kind of blow off the road. So in theory, it should be okay, doable, up to some point. And then you get low visibility or zero visibility, and you get piles and drifts. And then at some point, it's not so nice and doable. So it's up to you what you want to do with that. Let's see. Power outages, roads, snow, travel, cold. Obviously, you got to dress in layers. You should know that by now. It's many clothes you can put on you. Kids off the ice. Hey, Jody, am I forgetting anything? Can you think of something?
No, you got it all.
Think I got it all? Okay. I've done so many of these, and then sometimes I get off and I'm like, I meant to talk about that, because there's just so much to get across on these deals. As far as records go, I don't know. Been too busy to dig into historical books as to what it's going to take to break a record. I think the snow record for the state is like 30 inches or something. Some right around there, low 30s. So if we break that, well, there we go. We break a snow record for Oklahoma. Yeah, I did talk about pipes. Let's see. And then Big Lake effect snows. If you missed that discussion, on the south side of the lake, southwest side, You're probably get some of the heavier snows from lake effect snows. The big lakes, the ones that haven't already frozen over, like the little babies, tiny jobs. That might be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing if something really deep happens from that. I mean, I want to see like, you know, the Northeast lake effect style snow. That's all I want to see. So that would be exciting. Haley's asking where Larry is. Come here,
Just saw
buddy.
that.
Aw. So Larry made his debut last night, but we had some internet problems, didn't we, buddy? Oh, you sleepy? Did mommy wake you from your nap? Oh, he's so much better. He was at lunchtime today, and he was attacking the front door. He thought intruders were coming, and so he was in guard dog status. And about this time at night, he really winds down. And about 11 o'clock, he's out. And when we see him outside for the last time, like around 11:30, he knows it's bedtime, and all you gotta do is say that, and he runs to go to bed. It's so cute. Yeah, isn't it? So he's 3 pounds, purebred little Yorkie, a boy. So we're gonna try to. At one point, we were thinking about letting him do his thing. So for other Yorkies around. So if you've got a Yorkie and you'd like to, hit me up on that. Let me know, because as a young strapping lad here, he's busy. So anyway, all right, I'm gonna let him go. But anyway, this is Larry. Say hi, everybody. Okay. Tell you what, he's a boss at 3 pounds. All right, so there we go. By the way, he got his name because I just see you, Laney. Larry, because Jody's dad's name was Larry. So it's kind of like a little joke, but so we call him Little Larry. But what Jody didn't know, because Jody got Larry before she met me, like right before. Well, my dad's name was Larry. And so, of course, it was meant to be, right? So, yeah, so that's kind of how that goes. And so it's cute. So, I mean, rarely say Larry. You usually just say Little Larry, because how can you just say Larry? You got to preference it. All right. So anyway, so there he goes. There's Little Larry. He finally made his big day. Okay, so what time is it? It's 5 till. I know you guys are itching to get on the news to watch what 4, 5, 9, and whoever else has to say about the snow. I will remind you, there's a rule, and it's a good rule to have. You typically don't want to forecast tornadoes past 48 hours. You typically don't want to forecast snow totals past 48 hours. And we're only Thursday, so technically we should be even waiting until tomorrow night, Friday night. That would give us Saturday night, Sunday night. That would be 48 hours. It really includes 60 hours, so it goes into Monday morning, but we'll just call it that. So technically for snowfall accuracy totals, and because you saw the big difference between one model going more east and then dry west, you see what a radical change that was versus the models we'd seen prior where it had it flipped. See, that kind of stuff can happen. So you can bite it real quick when you go out on a limb and go, yep, we're going to have a foot of snow here. And all of a sudden, 24 hours later, you go, I just kidding, we're going to have 2 inches of snow here and the foot's over here. That makes you look like an idiot. So you typically want to hold out as long as you can until the dust settles, because these models will flip around a lot. So that's why you typically want to wait about 48 hours for snowfall forecasts. But I gave you as much as I can. I tell you all this stuff behind it as to which way I'm leading and which way I like and the reason why I like it. And that's kind of the best I can do, because no one ever really is going to be able to tell you exactly how much snow you're going to have. Never will never happen. We get close sometimes, but and that's why there's usually ranges, right? You see on a map and it says 6 to 12. Well, that's a pretty big range. Well, that's because it's the way it goes. But anyway, so there you go. I think that was probably about it. I'll do a couple of questions and then we're gonna get out of here. So if you had any, of course I can't read them while I'm looking at all the maps. Scott, that's why you should not shop at Walmart. I see you out there on YouTube. Dave, you'd better not send your wife to the mailbox. Listen, I'm going to tell you a story about that that's funny. I sent Jody to the mailbox. This was 3 years ago. We had just a little bit of, just a little touch of freezing. I don't even know what it was back then. It was so light. I don't know if it was snow or something. And so most of the sidewalk there was dry, but there was a few patchy areas, and she just wasn't expecting it. She had just gotten into town, and I felt so bad because she came back in, hit that step, and just went and landed on her shoulder and hurt her shoulder. So it took like months to heal. I felt this big. So, dude, learn from me. Don't send your wife out to get the mail. So we can joke about it now, but at the time that was not funny. If you get my drift. All right, let's go to the patrons here real quick. By the way, I got to thank the guys at radio sports guys 107.7 this morning. I guess they were talking some smack about me, so I want to tell those guys I appreciate getting my name out there. The publicity. All right, let's go on with the my patron comments. John pimping out the dog. A little bit. Tamara says, I'm staying home. That's my take home. I'm with you. Sounds good. Yeah, Sharon, driving in that stuff can be a nightmare, that's for sure, especially when you get the reduced visibility. So it's just one of those deals you just really don't want to mess with. But you guys are welcome for the updates. It's always good to see you. Just scanning through your comments here real quick. Thanks, Larry. I'm glad to be up and running myself. So, again, thanks to Cox Communications for taking care of me at such a seriously quick period of time, because if they didn't do it, I'd have been dead in the water tonight, and etc. All right, let me go to the main page here. Look at your comments. Let's see. Stop that. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube or Twitter Periscope, if you have a question, you can shoot it here real quick, and I'll jump back and see if I can answer it. Let's see. What would be your backup plan should power go out and you are older and have no transportation? I'm worried about my grandmother and others, especially since I have to be worried about being around people in the pandemic. Oh, good grief, COVID and all. Look, you can't live your life around COVID because the world, as you notice, continues to go on. The storms don't stop. The snow doesn't stop. It doesn't care about COVID. So you have to throw that part out the window. So you do what everybody does. You check on the elderly. You call, or if you can, go by. If you've got a four-wheel drive vehicle or something, it's not too bad. If not, you tell them to, you give them everything you can for them to stay in place, to be warm, should power go out, kind of a deal. Or you say, hey, come stay at my house. There's all kinds of ways to deal with that, in theory. Let's see. The rest of the logistics as far as going in and out of like homes or whatever, I can't even get into that mess. That's a whole nother animal. I'm just talking about just the freedom side. So no lockdown talk, just freedom talk. Those are your standard typical protocols. So Doug wants to know blizzard conditions on Sunday. Well, we'll have some winds gusting up to around 35 to 40. So we're getting kind of close to that area if that were to happen. So that'd be some blowing snow and drifting snow for Sunday afternoon and evening. Can you say the projected snowfall puddles again? Macy must have been late to the party. Boy, a lot of you guys are late to the party. I just did the whole thing. Where have y'all been? Seriously, hold on a second. Here's the deal. If you're going to ask that question, you have to preface it with, what were you doing for the last 30 minutes? And then I'll answer it. I have to give you a hard time. Will the drier snow impact flights from Will Rogers on Monday? Now, I wish I could tell the future in that regard, but unfortunately, my future telling skills only stops with Mother Nature. I'd love to do it in other areas of life, such as the stock market, my own personal stuff that I deal with, and family, whatever else, but it doesn't work that way. But I do know they will continue to move as much as they can. Usually you have some delays. Otherwise, they try to keep things moving. That's always the goal with the airlines. So getting the kiddos to bed. Okay, you know what? I've seen that excuse used before. So I'll buy it this time around, but you got to work it. Put your phone in your hand or something. One kid in this hand, and the phone in this hand, and then work it. All right, so anyway, so here's the deal. just to make it simple for this weekend, a little bit of light snow on Saturday. It's no big deal. Glorified dusting, flurries, maybe an inch and a half, something like that at most. And then on Sunday, it'll be snowing already when you get up in the morning. It'll snow all day long. In the Sunday night and Monday morning, wraps up, moves out. The amounts should be about a foot of snow here in central Oklahoma, and points to the east and points probably to the west, with the caveat that wherever we see the final total QPF trend go, which is the amount of actual liquid that falls from the sky, if it's a little less, then you're going to get a few inches less in northwest Oklahoma that the NAM was indicating. But other than that, that's a pretty good stab at it for now. Tomorrow night will be within the 48-hour window, which is the rule for snowfall forecasting, in my opinion. That keeps you safe and out of trouble usually. We'll know more then, but right now, that's what I would go with. And then the additional storm that comes in for late Tuesday through early Thursday, that's a long period of a storm as well. Therefore, easily, and I mean easily, another half inch of liquid comes out of that one, probably more. So that's going to be another foot of snow. So that's what I'm saying for this whole period. 2 feet of snow, not even worried about it. To me, that's an easy call. There will be some places that get a little less, just a little less, and there can be some places that get a lot more, especially around the south end of the lakes with lake effect snow, and where you get those crazy drifts. So there's your short version of the snow that's coming. Then you got to factor in the wind chill values, the negative numbers, actual air temperatures, the negative numbers. So it's just going to be brutal. And we probably won't warm up or melt any of that stuff for quite a while. It's going to be here. So we're kind of stuck in a rut here for the next several days. Okay, so that was a good question. And since the kids are put to bed or bathing them, I'll go with that too. But let's put a little tablet in the bathroom above the bathtub, or well, maybe not there. It'll drop in the water. Maybe behind you on the toilet. Nope, don't want to drop it in the toilet. Not the sink. We'll put it on the sink, or just bolt it to the wall. I don't know. All right, let me see. What else? You guys acted about spring. I can tell you this. Yeah, Scott, I mean, checking up on the elderly to get them ready is what you would do now, tomorrow, and Saturday. And then that's it. Let's see. What was I going to answer? My brain went 2 places at once, and it forgot the other place it was going. Dadgummit. Oh, spring. So the good news is that typically when you have a late winter season like this that kind of carries into the first part of our spring, it kind of delays the severe weather season a little bit. Sometimes you make up for it, and sometimes you don't. Recently, we didn't make up for it. There was a couple of duds thrown in the last couple of years, so that'd be fine with me. But there are some indications it might be kind of a busy spring, but I've seen these indices before. They're 50-50. If you look historically and you try to match patterns from the past versus some of the stuff, then there might be a little more activity to kick off, but we'll see. You just take it day by day. Yes, Jennifer is screaming at the stars. Bring pets inside, or at least at a minimal. You got to take care of them. Yeah, Brandy says you can't bring the cows in. Well, the cows, of course, will get together to stay warm. Farmers typically know what to do, which is a lot of hay, get a barn, or if you can do that. Same with horses. If you've got some place, for outdoor dogs or whatever, just make sure they got a heating lamp or something to heat. They've got a nice warm bed, shelter from the wind, all of that. I always use this. If you're fine staying out in those elements, however you have it for the animal, then obviously the animal will be just fine too. Now, if you say, well, no way would I stand out there in that, well, then you better think twice. That's how I look at it. I wouldn't put little Larry out there for more than 3 minutes. He'd freeze to death. But all animals are different. All right. Ellen's ready for 100 degrees. Mine's 22 to 100. Okay, scrolling up on a couple more questions, and it's time to go. By the way, you guys on... no, you didn't. Okay. And then You guys on YouTube. Yeah, the stars are only on Facebook because Destiny was asking. So stars is what Facebook turned on for content creators. So right where you leave your comments, you can just shoot me some stars. So that's something there only. YouTube, they have super chat. You can do that. Let's see. All right, back on the main page here. Those in the back are asking about Tulsa. What? I see you, Anita. Same thing. Probably, 10 inches of snow. Probably a decent forecast. Jenny, did he say 2 feet? Yes, I did. Now that's over the week period. That's from Saturday through next Thursday. That's two big systems. So Aaron, my daughter's meteorology professor canceled her classes next week in Stillwater before all the other professors. LOL. It pays to be a meteorologist sometimes. You see the writing on the wall. But I tell you what, man, every profession does that. All right. So let me give you a little hint of that. All right. So meteorologists, obviously, we know what's coming, and then we can quietly get ready for it. And you guys are like, that's not fair. Well, life isn't fair, right? Doctors can do the same thing. All right. Stock market guys can do the same thing. Everybody, whatever their profession is, going to have one leg up on everybody else. And if they can use it to their advantage, they're going to use it to their advantage. And then you let everybody else know. Or eventually word will trickle out. You don't worry about it. That's just the nature way this whole world works. If you don't believe me, watch The Walking Dead. It's every man, child, woman for himself. Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, that's just a little fun. Okay. Allison says, give me the deets about Tulsa. Same idea. Mike has asked about power outages. Boy, some of you guys didn't tune in until literally 5-10 minutes ago at most. You didn't know anything about Dallas for Sunday weather. Yeah, Dallas is going to be a mess down there too. I didn't talk about them other than the fact to say there'd just be activity moving through. I didn't look at any totals down there because I didn't want to spend a lot of time because there's so much to talk about anyway. But let's go real quick. Let me see. Let me use this one. So through Monday, they're looking at about ½ inch of rain. So let's see. Is that for the whole thing, or does that include Saturday? Nope. That's pretty much all Sunday. All right. So that probably then is going to be. Let me do this. Remember, I got to do this on the fly because you asked me a question on the fly. So there's Sunday into Monday morning. Okay, so most of theirs comes in Sunday afternoon and a Monday morning. So let me do the sounding profile. See, make sure it's not going to be any sleet. Nope, that's all snow. So it's cold enough profile to be all snow. All right, now that I know that, and we look at the total, we're looking at ½ inch. So down there will be a 10-to-1 ratio. So that's going to be about 5 inches of snow. So yes, Dallas-Fort Worth is finally going to get a good snow event. So about 5 inches of snow down there. And that'll be more of a wetter snow than it will be up here in Oklahoma. So it'll be more, you can stick, more problems on the roads, that kind of deal. So it'll be a mess down there in Dallas-Fort Worth for Sunday night, Monday morning. All right, and then the next round that comes in on Wednesday, it comes in for you down there in Dallas during the day on Wednesday. Let's just pick midday, and let's see what the sounding looks like then. And warm air advection profile. That may not be all snow. It may just be a little mixture of sleet and snow. So these higher amounts, you'll have to eat into your snowfall totals. So a lot of it will get wasted on sleet. So in other words, you won't get that 1.8 times 10 to make it 18 inches of snow. Overall, that's not going to happen for you. You have to eat a lot of that away on sleet totals, and that gets complicated. So just know there's 2 storm systems for you. The one late Sunday to Monday, and then again the one that comes in on Wednesday. All right, so that takes care of Dallas-Fort Worth. So if you do notice, this is a Southern Plains event. So Kansas, just you guys missed out this time around, but you've had a lot of snow events in Kansas. You do get, looks like another one on the 24th, so there you go. You'll make up for it then. I mean, you do get a little bit here for this weekend, but not compared to Oklahoma or even parts of Texas. But it's a big, the pattern, and I warned about this back a week ago, and I said, look, when you're locked into this type of pattern, we're bound to get some systems that roll through here and line up just right. And when they do, watch out, because usually it's a mixture of some freezing rain, and then sleet and snow. And then usually in Texas, you get more of the ice than you do here in Oklahoma, as long as the Arctic air has been here enough time and gets deep enough. And that's what we're going to have here. So the real kicker is the fact that it gets so dry, that so much Arctic air that comes in here, that it drops those snow ratios to 20 to 25 to 1. And that's where the fun really begins, because that's when you look at these models and you just go, I can't imagine this being right, but it has to be right. So that's why I say 2 feet of snow. Not even a question. Let's look, since I'm here, you guys are still here before I sign off. Let's look at the brand new data that just came in from the American model, because I'm curious, always curious. I'm looking at trends, right? I care about trends. So let's do this. Okay, so this is Sunday morning. Okay, there's during the day Sunday and to Monday morning. All right, so what does it have? Still has about a half inch of that snow signal in Dallas. It's not bad. It's a little less, but still not bad. Here in central Oklahoma, I picked half an inch being a good QPF overall average. This is going 0.6, so it's gotten closer. It still goes heavy, though, in northwest Oklahoma, which is complete opposite of the NAM. That's nuts. And then it starts to come in on late Tuesday. So Tuesday afternoon is when the next round starts to move in. The model hasn't finished coming in yet, but that's how that goes. So far, it's shaping up just like I've been saying. So about a foot of snow here in central Oklahoma, and 10 inches to maybe a foot up here in Tulsa. Southeast Oklahoma, you're getting closer and closer to the 10 to 1, but you're still going to be on the drier side, so you kind of have to half step it. So maybe about 8 inches down here, southeast Oklahoma, and then northwest Oklahoma, you're definitely going to be in that drier atmosphere. So if you do get any more moisture in this region, you're definitely in that 20-25 category without a doubt. So you end up with some higher amounts easily with that factored in, as long as you can get the QPF there. Now the NAM says you don't get the QPF there, but this is the GFS and it says you do. So as long as it says you do, and you do, you're looking at 16 to 20 inches of snow just for this first system. Golly. Oh, that's nuts, man. All right, I'm going to go to the other GFS, the old version of the same model. We have a beta version and we have the old version. Let me just look at both. So the old version, there's really not much difference, honestly. I like the old version for Oklahoma City. It's got 0.7 here. Let's do it. Let's go 14 inches. And then the secondary system's coming in for Wednesday night. So there's Tuesday through Wednesday and a Wednesday night. So just a very slow, light process of addition. Oh, me. So it's about 20 to 25 inches of snow. So it hasn't changed from what I thought from looking at the older data. All right, what else we got? Anything else come in yet? No, nothing else has come in new that's gonna stroke my fire. Not until tomorrow morning. All right, look. Thank you guys for hanging out for the extended cut here. We went almost a full hour. We're about 58 minutes into this thing. That's impressive. So join me tomorrow, probably at lunchtime. No guarantees at lunch. It's always a question point for me, but I've been able to do the last couple lunches. So I'm going to try to do tomorrow as well. And then for sure tomorrow night at 9:15. So if your notifications don't go off on your phone if you're on Twitter, YouTube, or Facebook, and none of them notify you, around 9:15, set an alarm or something, and just come and check out my feed. Give it a couple minutes in case I don't make it on exactly at 9:15. I'm going to shoot for that, but things happen, and it could be a couple minutes running late or whatever. But that's what I try to shoot for, so that way you can check out the latest, and we can talk about the new trends or what's going to happen in reality. So give it to you straight. Guys, it's been great. Thanks again for all the stars tonight. I appreciate your support, whether it's through Facebook stars or whether it's getting a hoodie, AT's Weather hoodie. That's on my website, aarontuttle.weather.com. It's in the store tab. It's also on my weather app, AT's Weather to Go. That's free. It's on the store tab there too. Let's see, or just liking, sharing, commenting. All that stuff makes a difference. So appreciate you guys, and we'll do this again tomorrow. Sleep well. Good night, everybody.